back. No, I'm kidding. Had to make a funny face for you guys. It's your girl, Belasian Quita, and I like to welcome you yet again to another episode of Sin TV, where I'm here to bring you guys smart, intelligent news. But before we get to today's featured interview, let's talk about shout-outs. I want to just give as many shout-outs as I can. I am so humbled and grateful to you guys for the support that you give me on Twitter, which is at sintvnow. And also, I want to give shout-outs to people who deserve that recognition and is doing just some wonderful things, not only for supporting me and what I've been doing with Sin TV, but supporting them and the talents that they have and how they enriched our lives. So I have my notes here. I want to give a shout out to Trevor Anthony. For the people who don't know who he is a talented actor and comedian. He does it all. He has this web series that is freaking hilarious called Fratitude. I want to make sure I said that right. Fratitude. It is great. He is hilarious. So please go and check him out. And then also want to give a shout out to my homeboy. So, I got to do a little homeboy dance. Yeah. Okay. His name is Ramsey Suez. Great guy. Gentleman. Okay. When you think of Psy's Gentleman song, think of these two guys. Like, they're awesome. But Ramsey Suez, he's a comedian. He is hilarious. I love him. Genius, genius, genius. He's been nominated on Funny or Die, so please check out that website too, funnyordie.com. And I will have all the links below so you can check out Fratitude, and you can also check out my homeboy, both of my homeboys here, both Trevor Anthony and Ramsey Lewis. So I just want to give that support to you guys. So thank you. Now let's get to today's topic of today's featured interview. I had a chance of interviewing Erin Dalian. And Erin Dalian is a Christian filmmaker. Now, when we think of film, we often think of like romantic comedies, we think of action and the blockbusters, Transformers, and all of that. But there are so many niches that are in between, and being a filmmaker is an art form in itself. And that's what Erin does. She creates art through film. And I just think that's just absolutely fantastic. She is known for her award-winning film, which is called The Creative, which is cool. And she also is currently in development, and I really, really want to push this and promote this for her. It's called Shadows of Death. It's going to be awesome, and I will have the links below so you can contact her and support the cause for this movie. So without further ado, here is my interview with Erin Dalian. Okay, so let's start from your humble beginnings, from your background up to the point that you decided to become a filmmaker.
Yeah, so I was writing for a long time. I started writing about 10 years ago, and then when I wrote a film called Broken and Beautiful, I actually went for a run afterwards, just to clear my head. It was finally done, finished the last draft, and I was praying when I was running. I was like, what is going to happen? Who's going to buy this, God? Because obviously Hollywood isn't known for churning out a lot of faith-based films. I mean,
Right.
the tide is changing, but this was 3 years ago still, so even less films, with faith were, getting out there in the mainstream. But I really felt called. I mean, I audibly heard God say that I was going to direct it, and I was like, well, I've never done that before, so it was a big leap of faith and a huge journey that I'm still on with that film. I'm still working with some distributors, so but it was great. I mean, to all the people that I've met, and then when you see a film go from script to screen, it's completely different as then a screenwriter on the next project, because you understand what you're asking of people. Not only the fact that you're asking them to plunk down probably 3 years of their life, and then, millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands if it's indie, but you're asking a lot of somebody. And I don't think I really understood that when I was just a writer. But once you see it go all the way through, you understand what you're really asking of people. And then, of course, writing in a different way not that you necessarily you don't always want to write with these constraints, but if you know that you're going to produce it, well, then you're not going to have somebody jumping off of Mount Everest or all of these things that you're never going to be able to do. I mean, when I wrote Broken and Beautiful, I had a scene in the Sears Tower. I had just all of these different places. And then when I was the one that had to go find these locations, I was like, no, they can walk down the street. They don't need to be in the Sears Tower. So it's very yeah, it's a different mindset once you've actually been a producer, been a director. But it's been great, and I've met so many people. And in Chicago, the film community is so fantastic. It's small enough where you're only a degree away from probably anybody, but large enough where, you know, there's lots of stuff happening. So that's been really great to kind of get involved in that. I've made some short films since then. So now it's, you know, the filmmaking bug, and so now I'm starting all over again with another feature that I want to do. Again, I want to write and have things that other people could produce and try to sell them, but certain projects are just way too close to my heart that I wouldn't want to give them up. And then this Shadows of Death is one of them that I really want to be the one to make that happen and get people on board locally to do that. So that's my next adventure.
Right. And you brought up a very interesting fact, and this is something that has perplexed me for quite some time, and it's this idea of faith-based filming. Because if you know Hollywood, like how I know Hollywood, it's more non-faith-based. So
Right.
how do you, as a faith-based filmmaker, how do you make that transition without violating the principles of Christianity? Because that's something that I feel I've struggled with being in the media.
Well, mostly I don't do anything unless it is out of my faith. I mean, for me, my faith is so intertwined with who I am. It's not something that I can leave at the door. I mean, for my full-time job, I've always, except for 1 year of my career, I've always worked for a nonprofit that is faith-based. So so in a way I feel like I'm not being like in the world, because I kind of have my own little cocoon, or, you know, my bubble where I still stay in these circles where I can be that. And so with filmmaking too, what I write is of course going to be out of my own experience, and so maybe it's not going to get made and I won't be able to sell some things to Hollywood, but I think it's opening up, as much as, you know, some things I might have to produce myself or scour to find people to buy. But, you know, I get emails all the time. I'm on different listservs of them looking for different films, and at least once a week there's one that says, I want a faith-based script on this. And granted, those are smaller production companies, I'm sure, right. But that is opening up, and there are, in Hollywood, you know, I've read articles that, you know, Passion of the Christ, granted it's been probably 10 years or whatever since then, but, you know, Courageous, Fireproof, you know, there are movies, and they, of course, aren't paying attention to the fact that they're faith-based. They're paying attention to the fact that those are making money, and people are seeing them. So I think the tide's turning as more and more films of faith are being produced, and the quality, hopefully, is getting better and better each time. And so they're looking, and they're saying, starting to take notice as if it's a novel concept. But it's like, well, you know, Moses, Charlton Heston was Moses, and that was, so it's like there's always these stories. It's like, this is not a new concept, but and I don't know if it has to be so delineated where, like, this is a faith-based film and this is not. I mean, my next film, it's not a Christian movie. It's not this. It, of course, since it's written by me, if anybody who knows me knows that it's going to have a positive message, but I didn't want to pigeonhole myself and say, oh, that's Erin and all she does is that. So, and if you're not interested, then really don't see her films. This one I specifically am doing to broaden that base, but it's still going to have a good message. And so instead of preaching to the choir, I think we can do a better job as Christian filmmakers, because that's what it used to be. There was always kind of like Judeo-Christian undertone, and it was just a movie. It wasn't a Christian movie. And so I think that we can kind of get back to that by just infusing the positive messages, but not necessarily it always has to be set in a church. It doesn't necessarily always have to, be super preachy. You can approach it in a different way. And if that's what we're trying to do, is to have a good message to the masses, then that's what it needs to be, I think. It can't just be, you're a churchgoer, so and I'm going to really get my preach on. And it's a movie. It's a movie. You have to be entertaining as well as getting a message across.
Right. And you mentioned that you write scripts, and I know everybody is more, familiarized with that commercial market of how scripts are produced and written. But from an indie perspective, can you explain to the audience how it goes from the foundation of the script and then transitioning it to film? Because I think often the misconception is people assume that, you write it and then someone just picks it up and that's that. But I know there's definitely a transition that has to occur.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm in a writer's group, and one of the gentlemen just asked, he's like, why do you, produce them yourself? I said, well, you know how hard it is to sell them, so it's not any easier to make a film, but if you want to see your stuff done, if you want to start building your career, if you want to have a track record, you just have to do it. And so it's really just getting involved in different networking and finding the people. So with this film, Shadows of Death, I already had connections, so it's much easier this go around as opposed to Broken and Beautiful. So now I know people. I've worked with them on, either they worked with me before on Broken and Beautiful, or in the other shorts I've made or sets that I've been on for other people, I can rely on them and say, hey, here's the script. Are you interested? Because if it's good material, people want to do it. Just like if you're trying to sell to Hollywood, it's really difficult. But if you have if you have an awesome script, then it'll get known. Haven't gotten there yet, but like telling me that
you're getting there. You're getting there.
Camera just jumped off.
Hurricane. No.
But good material. I mean, that's what everybody that's been involved so far with Shadows of Death, they really enjoy the script, and that's what it is. So, it's indie, so I don't have money. I'm still trying to get investors. But these people are saying, I just want to work with you, and I just want to work on this project. So then you got to get all your crew together, and then just all the pre-production work, setting schedules, casting. I do have most of my cast in place, and then just doing all the hard work of pre-production, which is super important. I think people, especially in the indie world, they might not do as much pre-production as they really should, because days on set are super stressful and so many things go wrong that you have to have your game plan. Everybody's got to be on the same page. You have to know what you want, because you can't just sit around. Time is money, and equipment costs, everything costs. So if you're sitting on set and you're like, now I need to decide what shot I'm going to do. It's like, no, you should have decided a long time ago. So that's what I'm starting to do now, hiring some crew to say, okay, you do this, because I did a lot with Broken and Beautiful. I didn't know how to delegate then, and I definitely had lots of help, but I didn't give enough up, and I realized that that needs to happen, because I need to be there for my actors and have a better, just because that's what the director needs to do. And I was producing, and it was just a lot, so I'm learning how to delegate with that with this next film. So it's all a learning curve. I mean, you learn something on every single set. People are different, and I like the fact when you're on a film, that exact combination of people is probably not going to be together. Right? But you become this instant family, and you work 12, 14, whatever hour days for a month or two or whatever it is. You see each other all the time, and then everybody goes their separate ways. You might work on a set again, but I just find that interesting. I guess as a writer, it's my own enjoyment of the human psyche or the human experience, that it's interesting to see those families form and that unit and then disband and maybe form in a different way. But I don't know. That part's interesting, and it's you have to like to work with people if you're going to be on a film set, because it's such a collaborative effort. Because as a writer, I'll sit in my office every Saturday after Saturday. There are days that I don't even see anybody. My husband gets up early and sometimes he has to work late, so I literally don't see anybody. So to go from that experience as a writer and then to be on set where there will be maybe 50 people running around trying to help you, it's awesome. I like seeing that trend all the way, but it's kind of night and day when you're just in your head creating something and then actually seeing it take shape. So
now, if you were not writing and doing film, and let's say we're in an alternate time, what other profession would you be interested in?
Well, filmmaking is not my full-time job. I mean, I don't make any money at it yet. That's the one thing. So I guess I am a writer, a paid writer. But I'm a marketing director in my full-time job. So I do that 9 to 5, and then I come home, I write, or I do pre-production work, whatever I need to do. And that's a lot of people that I run into. Everybody, you got to pay the bills somehow. So I don't need to go to an alternate universe. In this universe, I have a full-time job along with filmmaking.
Oh, trust me, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm on the same hustle. I work part-time. I'm a grad student too, and I shoot this show pretty much once a week.
Okay.
So I completely understand your struggle. Now, my final question for you is a two-part question.
Mm-hmm.
First, you had mentioned the new film that you're working on, and what do you expect people to, like, how do you expect people to react to it, and tell a little bit more details about that? And then what advice would you give to people who want to pursue what you do? Because I think that the assumption of film, is, everybody's trying to get famous, but they don't understand that being famous takes a lot of work and sleepless nights, which I am sure you are well familiar with.
Yeah, they say it's 10 years to be an overnight success. So, people can, whatever, sometimes they get, jealous of your success. But, I remember one person said, well, you live a charmed life. I'm like, you don't know how hard I've had to work to get where I've been. And I'm not even where I think I want to be. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, you got to be ready to hang in. You got to get, roll up your sleeves, do the work. But really it's perseverance, whether you're in front of the camera or behind the camera. People give up. And so if you don't give up, as long as you have, I think, some talent, if you just keep persevering, you're going to make it. I don't know what level of success you're going to achieve, but you're going to get something, because people, they just give up. And if you don't, then you're far head and shoulders above other people. So that would be my biggest piece of advice, is just to keep plugging away. I mean, but again, you have to have some talent at it, but keep working on your craft. I mean, I guess you watch like American Idol and you're like, didn't anybody tell those people that they can't sing?
They should just give up already.
Yeah, but if you have, that's why I had that little caveat, like if you have any talent, then, hopefully you have somebody around you that can really be honest with you and say, you have something that can at least be taught, then keep pursuing it and do it. Yeah, so really, and just do it. I mean, especially filmmaking, it's so accessible these days that you could just jump on Craigslist and get on a set to watch how it's done. Start meeting people. If you make a good, get friends with somebody, they're going to ask you to be on their set again, and you're just going to learn more from every single set. So perseverance and just doing it. I mean, you just got to step outside your door and you're going to be able to do it. Get a camera. There are contests for, iPhone films. It's so accessible. The technology is very accessible. So there's really no excuse to not do it. Just get some friends together, make a story, and make it happen. With Shadows of Death, it's a new feature. It's a supernatural thriller / horror. I used to just call it a thriller, but it does have horror elements. I finally acquiescing because I don't actually watch too many scary movies.
Me
Because I'm
either.
a big scaredy cat and I get scared way too easily.
Me too.
So hopefully I'll not scare myself while doing this. But there'll be a different reason for having sleepless nights, I guess. I'll be too scared. But but I really enjoyed writing this. Yeah, I like to challenge myself. So I was starting out with this drama, and then I just flipped it on its head and turned it into a thriller. And so it's about 6 friends. They're in their 30s, friends from high school. They're having their annual Christmas dinner, and this shadowy shadowy figure comes in and starts killing them off one by one. And so the main character is trying to save his wife through this. So it's definitely very different from other films that I've done, but like I had mentioned earlier, it still has my heart in it, and at the end, I think it's going to get people talking. It's not just some slasher movie that has no point. It definitely has a plot, and it has a point, and it really will. It'll spur some conversations. Already, just with the cast, I had a cast dinner, and they were already, well, what about this, and how about this, and there was already conversations starting. So I think it'll be really great. I'm really excited to work on it. Have some very talented crew and cast members on board, and so now I'm kind of at that fundraising stage. I have an Indiegogo campaign going on right now, and just looking also for investors that might be interested. And then we're planning to shoot in January because it does take place during a snowstorm, and so hoping that Mother Nature will provide with snow. So
I'm sure. I mean, if you come to the Midwest with it, yeah, there's gonna be tons.
yeah, hopefully. But last year we had a very mild winter in Chicago, so we'll see. I mean, it's like I want enough snow, but not too much where people can't get to set. So it needs to snow overnight, and they can clear the roads, and then we can film. So so if you're a praying person, pray for some perfect snowy weather for us. So I'm just really excited to go on this adventure again, and work with some people that I've worked with before. Julie Hurt was in Broken and Beautiful, working with her again, and then some new faces that I haven't worked with before, but all really, really talented. And yeah, so if you go to the Facebook page, you can see pictures of all the cast members that have been cast so far, and check out their IMDb and everything. And so yeah, just spread the word is what we're looking for now.
Send me the link so that I can put
definitely.
it with the episodes, so then people can, especially the Indiegogo, so that people can, in the goodness of their heart, donate, because I would like to see this come to fruition.
Yeah, it's in the video that we have, but you can see all the actors kind of give their a little bit, and then it's a very rough teaser trailer. I shot it myself like a year ago when I first started writing this, and I was going to start doing things because there was actually snow on the ground, so I was like, I better take advantage of this. So we haven't shot any of the film yet, so if people do look at that, they should know that it's not the quality, like we're going to have better quality. It was just on my camera because there was snow on the ground. So yeah, definitely that would be, and just, spreading the word, liking the Facebook page. I'll definitely put all the links. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it should be right below in the information. Yes. And then on Twitter, I've been using the hashtag Shadows of Death Movie. So just the more we can spread the word about it ahead of time and build some buzz, that's what we're looking for. That's why I'm trying to get some interviews like this one. So.
Yes, of course. And how can people get in touch with you, or let's say they want a script to be written by you?
I have and I'll give you the link so that you can link that. But Dash Entertainment is my production company, and so that is on Facebook, and then you can just message through there. There's links to all the other films that I've done, the trailer for Broken and Beautiful, and then the shorts that I've done. They're all linked on my Facebook page, and yeah, and I have done an adaptation of a book. I was hired to do that, so certainly, yeah. If anybody has something, then I'm open for that because writing is my first passion. I mean, it all starts with a story, and I really like to do the writing. I fell into the directing because I felt called to do Broken and Beautiful, and then I kept with it, both to really see my stories take shape because you really have to just hustle and get it done. So if nobody's gonna come to you, Hollywood's not gonna come to you. They don't say, oh, I think Erin might have a script that I want, so let me knock on her door. They're so I'm always emailing people trying to make contacts. So but yeah, so I'm definitely open to working with people on different scripts and things. So
Excellent. Thank you so much, Erin, for being on the show. And I see you being like Charlene Harris. That's where I see you going with.
Now I feel bad. Who's Charlene Harris?
Oh, Charlene Harris. She's known for her books. She started off as a writer, and then her books ended up becoming live action adaptations into the TV series known as True Blood.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I thought of like with
that. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Erin, for bringing I feel the talent that you have is definitely going to be recognized, and it's sooner than later. So I appreciate you being on the show today.
I appreciate you having me and helping me get the word out about Shadows of Death.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. You have a great evening, and technology is good because
yes, it finally works.
Exactly. Take care, Erin.
All right, bye now.
You too. Bye. I would like to thank Erin so much for being on today's show. Please make sure you follow her on Twitter at _entertain. Dash Entertainment is the name of her film production company, and she is also on Facebook, which is facebook.com/entertainment. And for the Shadows of Death movie, please make sure in your tweets that you can put the hashtag Shadows of Death movie. I will have all the links below for everything that I have talked about today. So I want to make sure to tell each and every one of you guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate the support and the love that I have gotten through all different mediums of social media, as well as being on YouTube. I am very humble and grateful to be here. So thank you. I appreciate it. As like my paper is waving in the wind. But thank you so much. I am so humbled and grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I appreciate that. We got more to come. More great interviews coming up. A lot of just so many hot topics that you guys have come up with things to for me to talk about too, so I appreciate that. But I have a special announcement to make exclusively here on Sin TV, okay? So I decided to open up another YouTube channel, and you're probably wondering why. Well, I had a video on the Malaysian Quita channel, which is like my separate like vlogging opinionated channel, and this is more like interview based. So I had this video that was focusing on interracial relations between black women and white men, and what I decided to do is to create a channel that is going to focus just on multicultural topics. And I'm talking from interracial marriage, interracial dating, anything interracial is going to be on that channel. I'm still working on the name for it, so I will keep you guys posted as things continue to develop. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And remember, once again, to get smart and stay informed.